I'm 91 years old, and I've spent most of my life sitting beside people who knew they didn't have much time left. It's a strange way to live, not something you plan when you're young, but somehow it became my life. I listened while people told me things they had never told anyone else. Not their wives, not their children, not even themselves, not really, until the end made it impossible to keep pretending. I stopped counting after 500. Maybe it was more, maybe less. The number doesn't matter anymore. What stayed with me was the weight of it. And now, I'm here, closer to the end than I ever thought I'd be. And I keep thinking about them, about what they said when they finally stopped holding things in. Not the details, those fade, but the feeling, the patterns, the quiet truths. When I was younger, in my 20s, my 30s, I didn't think much about death. Most people don't. I took the job because it was steady, and because I was good at being quiet. That's all it really takes. Not wisdom, not kindness, just the ability to sit still and let someone speak. I told myself I was helping, and maybe I was. But if I'm honest, there was something easier about those rooms. Nothing expected of me, no future to fix, no mistakes to carry forward, just listening. Back then, I still had a wife. Her name was Mira. She used to stand in the kitchen, arms folded, watching me, like she already knew what I was going to say before I said it. I came home late, often, not always because I had to. Sometimes I just stayed longer, at the hospital. Those rooms were quiet, not peaceful, exactly, but honest. No pretending, no performances, no trying to impress anyone. Everything unnecessary just fell away, and somehow that felt easier than real life. Mira didn't like it. She told me once, "You're more present for strangers who are dying than for your own life." I remember smiling a little, not because it was funny. I just didn't know what to say. I thought there would be time to fix that. That's the thing. Every person I sat with believed they had more time. And somehow, even after hearing it again and again, I believed it too. The confessions weren't dramatic. It was the small things. I should have gone back that summer. I don't remember my daughter as a child. I thought next year would be easier. There was one man, a school teacher, quiet, polite. He told me he spent his whole life being reasonable, making safe choices, doing what made sense. And then he said, very calmly, "I don't think I was ever happy. No tears, no anger. Just a quiet conclusion, as if he had done the math and didn't like the answer." That night, I went home. Mira was already asleep. I stood in the doorway, just watching her. I thought I should wake her up, say something, anything. But I didn't. It didn't feel urgent. That's how it happens. Not in big decisions, but in small moments. You think you can come back to later. Later is a dangerous word. Years passed like that, quietly, respectably. I was good at my job. People trusted me. Families thanked me. And at home, things grew quiet too, but not in a peaceful way. More like something important had already been said, and there was nothing left to add. Mira stopped asking where I was, stopped waiting up. We learned how to live around each other without conflict and without closeness. There was no fight, no ending, just a slow fading. I told myself, this is what marriage becomes, and I believed it. Even while I listened to people speak about regret every single day, I never thought it was my story too. Then there was a woman younger than me. She had 2 sons. They visited often. But she only spoke honestly after they left. One evening, she said, I spent my whole life being who I was needed to be. I nodded. Then she said, I don't know who I was for myself. That stayed in the room, heavy but quiet. She died 2 days later. I went home, and for the first time, my own house felt unfamiliar. Mira was sitting at the table. She looked older, not suddenly, just in a way I hadn't noticed before. We spoke about nothing important. And then I asked her, are you happy? She didn't answer right away. That silence told me everything. Finally, she said, I don't know. That was the moment, not dramatic, no shouting, just truth. But even then, I didn't change enough. You can see clearly and still do nothing, because changing means facing what's already been lost. Mira got sick in her 60s, slowly, the kind of illness that gives you time, and still, it isn't enough. I was there for her. More than I had ever been, I sat beside her, held her hand. From the outside, it looked like love, but I knew something was missing. Presence at the end doesn't replace absence over a lifetime. She never said it directly. She didn't need to. I could feel it in the space between us. One night, she said, we had time, didn't we? I said yes, but we both knew. We hadn't used it. After she was gone, the house became quiet, but not the kind I used to like. This was different, heavier, final. I kept working for a while, listening to more people saying the same things. I thought I'd call tomorrow. I didn't know it was the last time. I was busy. Busy is another dangerous word. Eventually, I stopped working. Not because I wanted to, but because I couldn't carry it anymore. Now, I sit by the window most days, thinking, remembering, not the big moments. Those stay clear. It's the ordinary ones that disappear. The evenings, the small conversations, the chances you didn't take. Because they didn't feel urgent. Those are the ones you don't get back. There's no final moment that fixes it. No last conversation that restores what was slowly lost. That's what I've learned. If you're listening to me now, I won't tell you to change your life. But maybe Just notice. Notice where you keep saying later. Notice who you assume will still be there. Notice where you're absent, even while you're living your life. Because I've sat with too many people who realized everything all at once when there was no time left. And now I'm one of them. I'm not afraid of dying, but I do feel the weight of what was missed. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It just stays with you, quietly. And in the end, that quiet is the loudest thing of all. If this meant something to you, then maybe that's enough. Maybe that's something you can still carry before it's your turn to sit where I am, searching for the right words and realizing how few are left.